Hey y'all, welcome back. It's been about 3 weeks or so since I updated, so I felt like it was time. I've kind of just been enjoying life a little bit more lately, and time has kind of gotten away from me. I apologize. Really don't have any new improvements to speak of. My speech and swallowing are noticeably improving. My voice is stronger and there's less slurring. It gets worse depending on how much I've talked or the time of day, but overall it is much better. The swallowing is better. I used to need 3 or 4 glasses of tea to help with swallowing at supper. Now, 1 glass is plenty. I don't need the extra fluid, so that's great. My left leg is still weak. I am using it a lot. I had to back up and do some reflecting and realize that that leg has been week for the longest, and for the past several months it really hasn't been supporting my body weight. Now, even with just standing up doing daily tasks or walking, it's being used more, so it gets tired. It's a little frustrating when it gets weak and I feel like I'm going backwards instead of improving, but I have to keep those things in mind, remind myself that this is a process. My toes on my left foot, I can move those, but not as well as I could 3 weeks ago, but better than I have been able to. So it's kind of just a wait and see, and if it comes back, it comes back. On my last video, I said it is enough. If this is all I get, it is enough. And that is definitely true. And I have to remind myself of that. But it's hard. I want more. I'm striving for more. And sometimes I just have to take a break and remind myself that I'm much better than I was and still have a long way to go. I thought I would run down a typical day for you guys. I usually get up and enjoy a cup of coffee. I'm the type person that in the past I would wake up, and before I left for work, I had cooked my breakfast and eaten. I'm not a big cereal eater or Pop-Tart. Not saying I've never, just saying it's not usual. I would do a load of clothes, could get those hung on the line to dry, made my bed, had something taken out to get thawed out for supper, and then get dressed and leave for work. All of that within about an hour and 15 minutes. Now, I'm learning that my mornings set the tone for my day. My doctor has told me to try to decrease the stress. So I get up and I make it a point to quietly enjoy a cup of coffee. The TV may or may not be on. It's just a time to sit and relax before I jump into my day. I also do my Bible study during that time, but I do allow myself those first few minutes to just get woken up and take a few breaths and awake enough that I can read and understand what the Lord is saying to me. I spend about 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, doing different therapies. For physical therapy, or exercise. I don't go to physical therapy anymore. I do some of the things that they worked with me on. I've incorporated other things, my exercise bands, small hand weights, small ankle weights, and I alternate upper body and lower body. I got burnt out doing both every day. Um, the treadmill inside is easy for me. I walk 30 minutes a day or ride my stationary bicycle. Treadmill, like I said, is easy. When I'm outside, it's more difficult. It requires more effort and more thinking about how I'm walking and what I'm doing. Something small can affect my balance. A tree root, a pecan. So walking outside is something I enjoy, but it is difficult. So I try to work it in so that I get stronger, but it can get frustrating. I am definitely a long way from that girl who climbed Blood Mountain, which, if I remember correctly, is the highest point on the Appalachian Trail in Georgia. We climbed that a few years ago, and we took the long, difficult, steep route to the top. But I can adapt. I can find easier trails. I can do other things, but I miss being able to do that. So I do the upper body or lower body for 30 minutes. I walk or bike for 30. I do core exercises 5 days a week, 10 to 15 minutes of that. Balance the same every day, 10 to 15 minutes. I do speech therapy. I go to speech 1 day a week, and probably 7 days a week I work on speech therapy, 20 to 30 minutes a day, but that is spread out throughout the day. Those are things I can do while I'm watching TV, while I'm riding down the road, while I'm sitting outside. Some of them I do with meals. We are working more on my throat muscles for swallowing, and it will help my speech, but swallowing is more of a problem for me than my actual speaking right now. So I can do those things while I'm actually drinking tea or eating food. I can work on those swallowing exercises. What else? Occupational therapy. That's where I focus on my hands. They are very weak, but I have some things like stress balls that I squeeze, putty. I try to work a clothespin. Like I said, I do hang my clothes on the clothesline a lot. I recently, last summer, I believe, bought the old-fashioned kind where they slide on. You don't have to squeeze them. But I do still try to work the thumb and index finger to work the clothespin. I have a clamp I use. Kind of funny, my daughter said I have prioritized with the clamp. I focus on my thumb and index finger, or thumb with index finger and middle finger, because that's my trigger finger. And I have been getting out and going and sitting in the deer blind or the tree stand. So being able to pull a trigger is important to me, so I do work on that. Greg built me a little manipulative board 2 years ago when it was just my left hand. There are pegs, I have to pick up and place in holes that he drilled. There's a bolt with a nut, and I try really hard to use my thumb and index finger to do that with. It's real easy to just take a finger and spin it, but I'm committed to doing the best I can to help myself, so I concentrate and focus on using those two fingers so that maybe I gain some function or retain what little function I do have with those. He fixed one part of it where I have to twist like you would a key. Now, my truck is newer, it has the push button. His is older, it has a key. That's difficult for me. Our side by side has a key. Our tractors all have keys. And while I can get by without that, I want to practice and push myself to do what I can. And if I can, that's fine. And if I can't, it's no big deal on that. Let's see. Breathing exercises. I have a device. You can get it online. It's nothing fancy. But I set the dial and I breathe in deep, hold it, breathe out. I try to do that twice a day. It keeps my lungs healthy, and that's gonna help obviously with lungs and breathing, but also with my speech as well. I have a couple of therapies or treatments that I do that don't require activity or participation on my part. I have a machine that it's called a hydrogenated water machine. It looks like I'm on oxygen, but I'm really not. You put water in it, it separates the hydrogen and the oxygen molecules, and I breathe those in. I do that an hour, probably 6 days a week, 7 if I want to, because again, I can do that in the afternoon or evening while I'm sitting watching TV. I have a device that is an electronic muscle stimulator. It is similar to a TENS unit, looks like a TENS unit. A TENS unit, however, works on your nerves to control the pain signals. The muscle stimulator actually stimulates my muscles and causes them to contract. So for an hour, I work on my legs, my drop foot, the muscle that causes your foot to flex. My muscle is weak, so for 30 minutes on each leg, I hook that up at night. I have to do one leg at the time. And I do that for an hour. I usually do that while I'm doing the hydrogenated water. So I don't waste 2 hours. I can do that at the same time. I also use that machine on my hands. I can put one pad here and one in here, and it works on my hand muscles. Hopefully that is causing them to contract some so that I can regain some function. I do my vibration plate 7 days a week for 10 minutes. I do that right before I go to bed. It helps with lymphatic system. It's supposed to help restless legs at night. It helps with muscle contraction as well. So I do that every day for 10 minutes. I also do a sauna 3 times a week, 30 to 40 minutes, and that is for detox. So by the time I go through all of that, I'm pushing 4 hours. On days where I don't do sauna, I come in more at 3:15, 3:30, somewhere around that. I do break these into sections. I was trying to get all of that done and then do things that I wanted to do or whatever I wanted to do for the rest of the day. But I found that I was so tired by the time I got through, I didn't want to do much else. I didn't have the energy to do much else. So I'll do about an hour, and then I might clean up the kitchen, sweep the floor, maybe throw a load of laundry on, take a 10-minute break, walk outside, check on the eggs, or, just do something different. And then I'll do another hour. I might sit down and read after that section. Watch a little TV, just something to break it up. Because while it is not all physically challenging, when you spend 4 hours of your day focusing on your health, focusing on improving things that you can't do, you just feel like your day is devoted to that. So I'm learning to break it up so that I'm not mentally exhausted and overwhelmed either. Like I said, my morning routine helps with that. Taking that quiet time, getting into the Word, doing my Bible study, that helps me kind of relax throughout the day and focus on His promises and the fact that I'm not alone. This journey can be very frustrating and overwhelming otherwise. I also have learned to listen to my body, not push myself. So if I'm having a day where my legs are extra tired, I may not do a lower body exercise because all of the walking, the sweeping, the laundry, the making of the bed, everything I do involves my lower body, my legs. So it's built into that. If I feel like something's off and I need a break, I take a break. I can't do 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. I want to live my life. I want to do things instead of therapy. So I take a break when I need to. And if I want to get out and do some things, I work on balance while I'm outside. I work on my hands, anything, if I weed in my flower bed or try to do anything outside, I can work those things in a more natural way that doesn't mean that my brain is focused on my illness. I'm enjoying my day. And with that being said, I'm about to enjoy this beautiful day. Last week we had highs in the 30s. You can see behind me the sun is shining and it is beautiful. So I think I'm gonna head out here and work on some vitamin D therapy, which is my favorite. Y'all have a great day.